Welcome to the Lost and Found Tarot channel. Today I'll cast a spread of tarot cards based on a movie and do a breakdown of how the tarot was trying to show me what happens in that movie. Any and every level of reader can benefit from this type of practice. If you're intimidated by large, free-form kinds of spreads, this is a great way to try it out. The best part is that we as readers can verify a situation and event because we're basing them off a movie. We have full transparency of the situation and we watch it all play out. For this episode, I chose the Royal Tenenbaums. I'm going through a minor fascination with Wes Anderson's style, and I did this practice with another one of his movies a long time ago, The Grand Budapest Hotel, and that one was pretty good. His movies always have strange characters, so I wanted to see how tarot might describe their relationships. For these episodes, I cast a 7x3 spread, 3 rows of 7 plus a hidden card that will come from the bottom of the deck. This is a spread that was taught to me by my teacher and mentor, and if you master it, it will give you a lot of information. That is also the drawback, though, having so many cards on the table. Sometimes I don't know where to start because there are no fixed positions. But if you practice and have lots of time to work through it, you'll be amazed at how much nuance and detail tarot can give you with a spread like this. I shuffle in my own way, with the card layout in mind, and so that the deck knows what I need to take from it. I'll ask as I shuffle, show me what happens in the movie The Royal Tenenbaums, and I'll think about what I might know from the movie if I've seen it. I rotate the thoughts in my head, and my hands move to program the deck. So the tarot just guides my hands, but ultimately it's the higher version of myself putting the cards in the exact right order they need to be in. As you can see, it takes me a long time to finish shuffling. For me, the feeling is very sudden. Some people have a completely different stop signal, but for me, it's just a shuffle until I suddenly get a feeling that I need to just stop. So at that point, I straighten the deck and I cast the spread. I flip my cards, but that's just my personal style. However you turn your cards is perfect as long as you do it consistently. I put the spread up on screen so that we can go through it. For this reading, since I already knew the plot and timeline of events, I just wanted to see how the tarot would take my understanding of the movie and express that on the table. Again, tarot works best when we use it like a mirror. It shows us the truth, and for some reason the truth can be difficult to face, even when we're shown what we already know. The fact that someone else or another being kind of confirms that, it feels like an uncomfortable exposure. But we're not going to deal with that serious stuff right now. Right now, we're just going to practice our reading of larger story-like spreads with some different subject matter. There are 22 cards on the table, and they all matter, but some are extra important. The center card of a spread like this always shows us the heart of a matter. It's a keystone of whatever topic. When you put the spread down on your own, you'll want to see how the cards surrounding this one behave. Are they generally positive? Are they generally negative? Are they conflicting? Let's check out that Emperor reversed. Within the first couple of minutes of the movie, we learn that the father, his name is actually Royal Tenenbaum, is not a good dad. He means well, but he demonstrates poor judgment and behaviors that cause him to be expelled from his family of overachievers. Reversals are not something every tarot reader works with, but I do, and I'll explain why with this card. The reversals deserve an entire area of study on their own, but very simply, they create a new dimension for the upright version, like an expansion. In the upright, using the Smith-Rider-Waite symbolism, we have the quintessential dad card, an expression of male energy that commands and manages. Although Royal is physically a mature man, he does seem to have an immature grasp of what makes relationships meaningful. His absence for most of his kids' lives shows how he shows no accountability or responsibility. The Hebrew letter for this card is He, meaning window. It seems like he's always on the outside looking in, but he doesn't realize that it's all his own doing. When the Emperor reversed is describing an event or status, it can mean someone's plans have failed. And I think that's pretty clear that most of the plans of several characters were botched or foiled or did not go as planned. Let's look at the cards surrounding the Emperor reversed. At the top we have the Nine of Cups reversed, and this is talking about a philosophical or spiritual path rather than a materialistic one. Next to the Emperor we have the Queen of Wands, and this is a confident, capable woman representing Ethylene, the mother who pushed all her children to become geniuses by having them all in a variety of activities. She has taken the reins of managing her family from the Emperor reversed. The Ace of Swords next to the Emperor speaks to his shame as he circles the drain financially. The work of the Ace is actually much darker, but we'll get to that later. Finally, the Sun is at the base of the Emperor. For all his many faults, Royal is nothing if not a playful and mischievous adventurer. Safety is usually the least of his concerns. An event described by the interaction between the Emperor and the Sun is when Eli drove his car into the Tenenbaums' home. Royal saved his grandsons from being crushed. Protection of children is another meaning held by this card. Now that we have the heart of the spread determined, I'm going to jump over to the first card and move through these one by one to keep myself from getting overwhelmed with information. They all blend into each other, which is exactly what we want because there are only 78 cards available to embrace all of human experience, so we have to let them melt down a bit, if that made any sense. The first two cards of the spread tell us what the situation is. Knight of Cups reversed and Queen of Swords. The Knight is describing the role love plays in the story as a major motivation for the plot. Even though he's been separated from his wife for 22 years, Royal becomes incredibly jealous when he hears Etheline is getting remarried. Even if he doesn't feel particularly attached to his ex-wife, he wants to prove that she belongs to him. In contrast, Henry, Etheline's suitor and fiancé, is patient and loving towards her, and the affection and care shared between them stands in stark contrast to the deceptive posturing of Royal Tenenbaum. In this way, love is a theme in the film, as reflected in the affection shared between Henry and Etheline. More complicatedly, if that's a word, Richie and Margot are in love. This love is taboo because they are legally siblings. Margot was adopted, so there's nothing biologically making their romantic attachment wrong, but having grown up as siblings makes their connection feel very strange. As hard as they try to fight it, they share a pure and genuine attachment to each other. Their love is too strong for them to simply ignore it, and they eventually give in to it at the end, with the blessing of the people around them. In spite of the dark complications swirling around many of the attachments in the film, love is a major theme. The Queen supports the Knight because she represents the acts of severance that clear the path for love to develop. She is the divorce papers that Royal presents to Etheline as a gift to remove his last bit of control over her situation, allowing her to marry Henry. The Queen also holds a dark event in the imagery of her card. In one hand she holds the sword. The arm she holds out, a red rosary hangs, but we'll get to that a little later. The Eight of Wands reversed is showing us a complete lack of synchronicity. There's a lot of conflicting messages, and starts a chain reaction that happens with Richie. The investigator hired by Margot's husband takes us through all Margot's affairs over the years. Those faults and errors are reinforced by the Nine of Cups, which is showing us that the long-held secret Margot maintained was revealed. Margot's resulting effort to quit smoking, as seen in the Devil RX. Unfortunately, releasing addiction is only one of the reasons the Devil reversed would appear. Sometimes a reversal can intensify the meaning of the upright, and with the Ace of Swords reversed right below it, we see Richie's suicide attempt. We also saw it hinted at with the Queen of Swords. The final two cards in the spread are the Seven of Cups and the Five of Pentacles. The Cups show us a fall from status and the emotional disturbance that brings. All these former child prodigies from a well-off family have all peaked and are now coping with the loss of praise, accolades, and legacy wealth. The Five of Pentacles usually shows us a lacking environment. We are in a state of mind of not having enough or being unworthy of saving. Notice that, though sick and injured, the figures are surviving. This is a story about redemption, in that by the end, Royal has made amends with his family, even if he actually hasn't changed very much. He shows up for Richie when Richie asks his advice about Margot. He apologizes to Henry for giving him such a hard time, and he reconciles with Chaz. While he hasn't necessarily become a better person, he has redeemed himself in the eyes of his family members and figured out how to be more accountable to them. More broadly, it is a redemption story for all the characters. By the end, Chaz becomes less fearful. Margot has a play produced, and Richie begins to teach tennis. all of the Tenenbaums learn to integrate themselves in a more healthy way to the world around them, and to repent for past mistakes and neuroses, and finally find some level of peace. The appearance of the aces sort of mirrors this too. Aces can show us a short-term divine gift. Chaz had the gift of business savvy, so he's the Ace of Pentacles. Margot had the gift of intellect and writing, so hers was the Ace of Swords, and Richie held athletic gift from the Ace of Wands. You'll notice that I skipped a bunch of cards in the bottom left, including Judgment reversed, Justice, Ten of Wands, King of Swords, Two of Swords reversed. I didn't dig into these because their meaning already came out in different cards. And you should know that not every card in a spread is going to be significant. Sometimes what needs to be said only takes a certain number of cards. If you do this practice on your own, you do not have to dig into every single card to search for the message. Large spreads can be a double-edged sword like that. You risk getting too many cards that are absolutely necessary. Also, tarot has a sense of humor. So up there, the Nine of Pentacles, showing us one of my favorite characters, Mordecai the Falcon. A symbol of leisurely wealth, this falcon in the movie is freed by Richie, but later returns to him, bringing him hope for the future. The hidden card in the spread that I took from the bottom of the deck was the Knight of Pentacles reversed. In the tarot court, the Knight's effect. This knight is showing us the general unpleasant qualities that make most of our characters so miserable. We have royal selfishness and mooching behaviors here. We have the melancholy shared by all the siblings in their variations. Again, all springing from a place of privilege, or almost feeling entitled to being showered with attention and praise and resources just because they were brilliant in their youth, and the sadness around losing that. Every time I do this type of practice, it completely blows my mind and makes me fall in love with tarot all over again. If you're also a tarot reader, no matter what kind of experience you have, I cannot recommend this exercise enough. It's fun, it's low stakes, there's no anxious client waiting for an answer, and it will help open spiritual doors for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please consider subscribing to know when I release a new video, which I'll try to do every week. If you have some extra thoughts, maybe you saw something that I missed, and I certainly did, so there's no doubt about that. Please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to respond. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Take care and keep practicing.